All right, welcome back to the Pirate Players Then and Out podcast. I am your Hampton football enthusiast, TJ Jones, and I am here with none other than the HU pirate ship purveyors, the creators and founders, Mr. Jeff Johnson, a Hamptonite, and Mr. Tariq Wilson. Gentlemen, it is so good to be with you today. I must say, I am having a great day. How y'all doing?
We're good.
Fabulous.
Thank God it's Friday.
Yep. And we appreciate the invite, man. We make time for
Definitely.
another pirate doing big things. So we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, in many spaces, it is good to see other pirates, as you say, doing good things and hanging out. You all have been holding it down for so long, upwards of 10 years, from what I recall, I think 2015. That is a long time to be doing anything. Nevertheless, something that may sometimes feel thankless as it relates to this space. And I'm certainly not a journalism major. I don't know if either one of you are, right? But
I
just,
was.
oh,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
But I definitely know that it's needed, and I'm always wondering why there isn't more. But I think there's a thought that Hamptonians don't worry much or concern themselves much about the athletics, which is simply
Mhm.
not true. It's just
Mhm.
not all we are,
Yeah.
and so in some other spaces it may be a little different. But I am very curious, and I don't care which one of y'all want to take it. How did y'all get started in doing this?
You
Well,
wanna go
yeah,
ahead, Reed?
I'll tell you, my memory's starting to fade a little bit, but even though I'm not a journalism major, I was a computer science major. It's always like IT stuff and tinkering and stuff. And so we had the HU pirate ship message board going back a long time. So I said, hey, let me try a podcast. So I held it down. I did a couple episodes, maybe one or two by myself. And then Jeff said, yo, man, can I come on with you? I was like, bet, man,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
so he came on, man. And it was, it's been on from since then, man. But it was just something to try and try to get a new experience. And just, cause, you know, even though we didn't have the podcast, Jeff and I, we would text so much, during the
Mhm.
games and stuff.
Yeah.
So then it was like, hey man, we can just like put this
Yeah.
on the podcast, and then it's been up from there.
Yeah, like, cause this was the pirate ship was kind of a holdover from, do you remember before MEAC, was it MEAC Sports? It used to be, what was the old website? It was like MEAC. It wasn't MEAC
MEAC
Fans on this
fans,
today.
wasn't MEAC fans?
MEAC Fans, and MEAC Fans was, I think, from like '99 to like 2008 or 2009.
Mhm.
And that was, to me, that was a much more rowdy than the one that we have today. And the pirate ship kind of started off of, because each program in the MIA had their own like private room. And so, like, we would always say "pirates to the ship," and then it would be
Right.
like all like four of us, and we'll come back and we're talking like little silly little like Hampton secret stuff. Like we're discussing launch codes and and then it got to the point where when MEAC sports fans had collapsed, and we created the pirate ship, and we started the podcast. Like, nobody listened at first because Hampton. We weren't even we this was post Joe Taylor. This
Mhm.
was right. No, it was a little. Yeah, it was Don Rose era. It was. No, I would say those some lean years. So but we did it out of love. So I would say like, it was funny. It was like the people the majority of our listeners in that time were all other alums from other schools. So Howard
Mhm.
University, they used to listen to a lot of it, and a lot of Aggies, and of course Spartans. And we had some really good really good debates that like really got like serious earlier during those times, because that was when we was in the MEAC. And then but from that point on, I think it was more like we never heard anything from the Hampton side. It was always from Howard, or if we said something about Howard or Norfolk State.
FAMU,
Oh,
they used to, man, FAMU used
FAMU.
boy.
FAMU from our days at Hampton, they were, the Billy Joe era, I just always talk about the time when I used to work for WHOV 88.1. I used a
Mhm.
sportscaster there. And that's when we still have the same press box setup on the visitor side. But before then, it used to be just one level, and the coaches would be in the same booth. Like the FAMU coach would be in the same booth with the Hampton coaches. It would just be on the other side. You can kind of hear
Mhm.
them. And this time I was telling the story, and because I remember I was there, and this is when Church's Chicken used to sponsor our game. And FAMU coaches on the way back from halftime were walking up on Armstrong to their little booth, and they shouldn't have went in the media because that was just for the media. They went in the media area and took all the Church's chicken boxes. And of course, I think it was Malcolm Zeke Avery. He was just like, "Yo, bring that chicken back here," and it was like, "Man, take a little chicken, man." And it was funny because it was so emblematic of like what FAMU was, that Billy Joe era. Like they steamrolled us that game. It was like 56-21. But
Mm.
it's like we brought those type of stories there, and then what would happen was you would see FAMU was, "Oh my God, I was there for that game. I remember." So it was, I think, when we started bringing that kind of stuff back, then we were more popular with outside alums, and that's when it was cool.
Yeah.
That's a awesome story. I will say, Jeff, I had the opportunity when I was early on in although I was a finance major, so no journalism in my space,
Mhm.
to do some broadcasting of the football games myself.
Yeah.
With my friend now deceased, Rob Dixon.
Rob Dixon,
Everybody knows
Yeah,
Rob, man.
Legend Dixon.
yeah.
Everybody knows
Rob
Rob.
Yo,
was Rob was my box
oh,
buddy, and we
man.
used to get to do the second half
Yeah,
because
yeah,
Al Butler and Dwayne used to
yeah,
do the first half, and then they would go out and we would get a chance to do that. So that's what
yeah,
started my love for all this and
yeah,
comfort. And Rob was just an awesome, awesome person.
yeah. It was
Yeah. He was the
Rob
first dude I
Dixon.
met on campus. He was the
Yep,
first dude I
and
met on
Ron. No,
campus.
he was the first dude I met because
Yeah, literally.
he was our dorm director at Wilder.
Yep,
Hmm.
It was
Jeff.
Rob Dixon, Ron Pinkney, and I did the halftime and the post game. Yeah, so no, yeah. Rest in peace,
Did it
both of those.
absolutely. So were you guys there? Did you guys know each other on campus? Were you there at the overlap? Did you at the same time?
No,
No.
no,
Wow.
it's funny because we kind of, we're, I'm from originally from the South, Atlanta.
Mhm.
So I kind of stayed in the Southern sphere. So it's like Hampton was very cliquish. I know it is now, but like I felt like if you were like from the South during our time, then you were kind of like you're a real minority, even though Hampton is technically in Virginia. But when you're talking about it in the context of like Black culture, during that time, I would say that 90s, early 2000s era, it was like the South was like for Black people was North Carolina and below. Virginia was kind of like we used to call it like, what is Virginia? Where it was like do they want to be like they're from New York or up north or it was weird. So we could just kind of like we're no man's land. That's how we looked at it. So I just kind of stayed on my side. And unfortunately, I antagonized a lot of people during that time when I was at Hampton. But it was all good. It was all good.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a good time in general. I think, I'm originally from New York, and I'm very definitely had some groupings, right? Some sections,
Yeah.
but I during our time in the sports, particularly football and basketball, helped to bring everybody together. It's a lot
Mhm.
different today. Social
Yeah.
media and
Yeah.
technology and so forth seems to have lessened the emphasis, but I feel like the programs are trying to get their arms around that, which
Mhm.
reminds me, you guys have done some great interviews. I particularly enjoyed more recently the one with A.D. Henderson. You guys did that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
we got him
have.
to relax a little bit, right? Because like
Yeah.
we're peers, you know what I'm saying? Like most of the time
Yeah.
it's like real polished, but literally peers. If I go on
Yeah.
social media, we got like 50 friends in common, so even though I didn't
Yeah.
know him
Yeah.
at Hampton, but
And
we had so many people in common.
and the fact that he's my big bro, you know, it's like that's my legit big brother. Like he was my cousin was Roy Johnson, and him and Roy Johnson were best friends, are still best friends. And so he took me and my family when we got there under our wing. So and he's been like that ever since. So, you know, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna criticize him, but you know, it's like what you doing, man? But it's like, but I mean, it's like, and everyone's like, "Oh man, that's your boy." You know, ain't nothing go wrong with your boy. And I'm kind of like, yeah, he ain't nobody's perfect, so nah. But he's my guy, and I'm always proud of him now.
Well, you guys are doing a whole lot and making space for, just for conversation. Even I was introduced to, shout out to Adam Lee Spencer, because he
Mhm.
introduced me to the chat space that
Yeah,
you all have. That is just a way in which for us to come together in another way.
yeah,
But I think y'all are involved in a lot of spaces. I think I've heard Tariq Burnt you at one point. I don't think you live down there anymore, but were you very involved with alumni associations and things like that too, right?
Yeah, yep. I was vice president down in Durham
yeah,
Chapel Hill chapter. So yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I'm trying to get involved in the New York chapter now that I'm up
yeah,
here in New York. So but yeah, I try. Everywhere I'm at, I always try to meet some Hamptonians
yeah.
and make those connections.
Absolutely. Same with me. Same with me. And I just know that it's a competitive market though. It's like everybody's trying to one up everybody. I'm like, stop it. You know, I don't get that.
Within the community.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
We
It's
definitely don't here in Connecticut. We don't. We just. I think I heard this week that they're trying to get the alumni going again, but like a
Mm,
formal chapter. So that's great. I think the game coming up here, the football game coming up here, where they're going to play Sacred Heart, is going to be a nice opportunity. And I know some of those guys on the Sacred Heart team too. That's going to be a fun game. I'll definitely be out there. I remember I asked you, Tariq, I asked you if you plan to come up. You said you think you might make it. That's gonna be
yep, yep. Long as the calendar's open, I'll be up there.
well.
yeah.
I want to ask y'all. So I only deal in the football. I don't have time to deal with anything else. So I got to
Hmm.
ask you how you feel about the way things are going with the football program to this point, or under the new regime.
Take it away, Jeff. I'll go after.
I mean, I'll put it to you like this. I think it was really difficult for, A.D. Henderson when he got here because, he had the holdovers, he had Prunty, and the way that the previous administration kind of set it up for Prunty was like, yo, they gave him like they redid his contract.
Mm,
So you could now if I mean Hampton has the bag, they could have just like paid him out, just let him go, but they let him play and they gave him that year, and I think it was the year they gave it to him. He performed. The team was, I would say, kind of herky jerky.
mm,
I felt like the teams, his teams were always like, I'm from Atlanta, so I'll give you kind of a comparison. So Atlanta has athletes, like a lot of the players from the NFL that, I would say like Cam Newton's from Atlanta. Pac-Man is from Atlanta. Jamal Lewis is from Atlanta. They all went to these big programs where it's nothing but athletes there, but the coaching was terrible. Or
mm,
they'll have a coach who some of these coaches weren't even certified to be coaches. They're, selling tires during the week and they're coaching on Friday night, or they're rapping and coaching at the same time. But these kids will always end up going to the state because they always relied on the athletic talent, whereas they didn't have coaching or consistent coaching. I
mm.
felt like Prunty's teams had athletes, really good athletes, big guys, powerful guys, but I don't feel like they lack the nuance to like make those, I would say, complex plays like on the 3rd and 8, like a passing down a 3rd and 8. The quarterback has to complete that pass, or could they stop, William and Mary on a crucial down, like on a 3rd and 5,
Mm.
where they're gonna probably do some sort of tight end pass or like something, clever. It's like cleverness is like, what can you do to stop clever? And I felt like Prunty was just like, rush the ball, run the ball. Yeah, go get him, hit him up, and I think like it's like football is much more than that now. And so when it was time to move on, definitely tell him, get him out. And instead of like, and it kind of happened at like a inopportune time because the the hiring window was gone. So you really couldn't just get out and get a new guy. So you just had to get someone who was on staff. And I knew he knew Trent. Trent was definitely, I would say a great placeholder. And he had a really good year his first year. But that was, I would say, the best of what Prunty had left. And we were like trending at 500 there. And that to me, that was probably one of the best teams that we had at Hampton, probably a good 8 or 9 years.
Oh.
And we were just mediocre. And so you had to kind of do a whole reset. And I think that just going and just getting somebody the direct opposite wasn't what we should have done. We need to get a program builder because honestly, we haven't had a program builder since Joe T. And I know that is a big thing at Hampton. Unfortunately for us, we all came in during that time, that period, the Joe Taylor period, the Pat Bibbs period, the Steve Murfield period, Tiny Lassiter period, the Nielsen screen period. These are all proven winners. And then on top of that, we had Dr. Dennis Thomas as an AD. And then you had Dr. Harvey as a president. So we had the formula for winning. And so everybody got so jaded by that. And so now they're just like, oh, well, he ain't no Joe T. Let him be who he needs to be. So I like the hire. I know it's going to be a lot. It's going to be a long time before I think we're somewhat competitive, because he's going to do it the way that he wants to do it. Hopefully we'll be, I would say, competitive in the sense like we ain't getting blown up and we have our pride intact. But it's going to be something.
Yeah, I think that's right on. I mean, I got eyes. You can look at the roster.
Yeah.
You can see what we got.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work to do. But I
Yeah. A
think
lot of work.
coach understands that, right? And
Yeah.
from the interviews that he's given, like if you really listen to him, he's trying to be honest about
Yeah.
what that is. So this is a rebuild. Is it a
Rebuild.
rebuild? It's a build. Like it's a build, especially in this era. The thing I know the university's wrestling with is like, how long can we take to build this thing, right? Because you can go and fill a roster with portal guys, but that's gonna fall apart. It's gonna fall apart. That's not like you don't get longevity doing that. So you get longevity by building your roster, keeping 75, 85% of those guys year after year, and then
Mm-hmm.
supplementing with the portal. But you can't build your roster from the portal and then expect to have longevity, especially not in the CAA. If you look at all the teams, that's how they build. They build
Yep.
in-house,
Mm-hmm.
raise the guys, get them in their
Yep.
culture, and then junior year, senior year,
Yeah.
they transfer. But
Yeah.
you get a good 2-3 years of them, and then you can keep your program rolling. So it appears that that's the strategy. But
I
for
would
this
say,
year, I'm
yeah.
expecting
Yeah.
my expectations are, I just don't want them to quit.
No. And that's what we
Because
care about.
last year they quit a lot.
They
Soon as they
quit
got punched in
early.
the mouth, as soon as they got punched in the mouth, it felt like they quit. I knew I
We
could turn the TV off as soon as they get down by 7
we
points. Like
almost
it's over.
lost to Elizabeth City State last year.
Yeah,
We let them boys drive down the field on that last possession.
Mm.
So
yeah,
I don't know. I would just say this. I feel like Malone owns the interview, and we have not got a guy to own the interview since. I mean, Connell Manor owned the interview, but it kind of felt like a parlor trick, like it was always a punchline for a joke or something. So
yeah.
I felt
Right.
like we feel with Malone, it's like, oh, he's serious. And like it's like you could tell he means what he says and he's done his homework. So that's what I appreciate the most. Out of anything else, I appreciate that we actually win the interview. That's it.
Mm.
Because we weren't winning it with Prunty and Boykin, he's Boykin.
Yeah, like we've been at it, like you said, 10 years. Like this is the fifth coach. So every 2 years we get a new coach, man.
Like, we
So that's
had
why I'm
Don
chilling.
Rose.
I'm not getting.
We ain't getting our hopes up. We had Jerry
Nope.
Holmes, Don
Oh, I
Rose.
forgot about him. Oh man, we pissed him off too. Then we.
Oh, man, Jerry Holmes he was campaigning for other jobs while he was at Hampton,
Yeah,
man.
man.
Like, yeah, I'm trying
I
to get
forgot
there
about Holmes.
too.
So that's 6. Is that
6.
6? Man.
So,
Yeah, way back in the day, we did a lot more X's and O's. I mean,
yeah,
we don't do it as much now, but
yeah,
we used to do more when people appreciate it. I mean, we
yeah,
literally people say, "Oh, I knew who to watch for after listening to
yeah,
your podcast." So every
yeah.
now and then we get into X and O's, and then the fronting regime, we were in more X and O's, and apparently they ain't like some of our
And
takes, but you
when and
know,
whenever when from what we saw, it looked like they knew what the play was, and something happened that it was a turnover. So
yeah,
we were used to it, so it was okay.
yeah,
Yeah,
Given
no,
the lack of coverage
no,
that they get anyway,
yeah,
any coverage should be lauded as good under the circumstances. Hopefully, y'all get a chance to get a Coach Van Malone on in the same way, some type of conversation that supports that ideal because, I think it's good. Just
yeah,
good to be talking about it, talking about the program. I'll tell you that last summer, this is where I was talking about the origins of my own or
mm,
here. Last, I had some equipment. I was trying to decide what I want to do
mm,
with it. And I was sitting around and I had been watching you all. And
mm,
then, for a little while, early last year, you guys were quiet. And I
yeah,
went to the Philly carousel, when they were doing the visits. Notice I haven't heard anything about those this year, but
yeah,
they were doing the field visits, and I went to the Philly one. I ran into and talked to AD Henderson, and first thing I asked him, I said, what's up with HU Pirate Ship? Those guys okay? I said, because they, somebody get sick, something happened,
yeah,
because, and I'm serious. I literally was like, yeah,
yeah,
they're usually pretty, a little consistent. So,
yeah,
and they said, that's when he told me that you had kids and there was things going on and he was going to
yeah,
check on y'all, which is really nice.
yeah,
We
yeah,
show our Hampton family style conversation. And in that conversation, I asked him if, I told him I was thinking about doing a podcast, but I didn't want to
mm.
step on toes. And much like Tariq said to me recently, he was like, there's room, there's room for more than
Plenty,
one.
yep,
plenty, man.
So that was very cool because, you never know how sensitive people are going to be to what kind of coverage they're going to get. And certainly I'm never critical anyway. I'm usually focused in on giving some light to young people who would choose to go to an HBCU, choose to play at
Yeah,
a program like ours in this very complicated time
yeah,
in the world.
mhm,
absolutely.
And so, I spend my energies over there. I hope
Yeah,
to get a chance to interview, some players at different points just to kind of
yeah,
hear their backstories.
yeah,
Because we all have backstories, and that's kind of where I
yeah,
focus my energies.
yeah,
But even I had the opportunity to be on an alumni call with Van Malone
mhm,
about a month or so ago,
mhm,
and I asked him about his coaches, and he lit up. He's really proud of the coaches that he has
yeah,
selected to help in this process. Like it's a thing for him,
mhm,
and
mhm.
included right down to the strength and conditioning guy's been his friend for
mhm,
like ever.
yeah.
So I definitely think they're cooking something. I do think they will be better than last year. I'll put it that way.
They'll be much better than last year. And I think last year, I mean, you think about it though, like I wasn't high on the kid from the transfer that came in, the quarterback, and I forgot his
You're
what
talking
my
about the
uh,
one
Oh,
from
from
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
yeah, Lincoln,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I wasn't high. He couldn't throw a 5-yard pass, if his life depended on it. So I
Remember,
knew after,
I was high because
yeah, we
of
were high because of the
what I
year
was
before.
told.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
yes,
just to jump in, North Carolina is
yeah,
such a small world, man.
yeah.
Like I met so many ADs,
Hmm.
coaches in my neighborhood. They were the D1, D2 football coach, and we
Yeah,
would just talk at the
yeah,
mailbox, man.
yeah.
And when I said we were getting the Lincoln kid, one of the coaches was like, "Oh, you got a good one, got a good one. We
And
coordinate against
that's
him.
the
You got a good
thing.
one." I was like, "Damn, for real?" He's like, "Yeah, he could do this, he could do that, he could do this. You set." I was like, "Oh, we good."
But
But
that's the wild part. It
sometimes
goes
it
back.
just fit.
Yeah. And it goes back to what I was talking about earlier about those coaches who I know football. I know football. It's a lot of that. And I'm talking about that's why I'm glad we got a guy like Van Malone, because he's not a I know football kind of guy. So but I last year, I think that hurt, out of all the season that we had, like I think the year before with Prunty, when we were boycotting, we're like, we're not doing this no more. But last year, like Elizabeth City State we weren't gonna do nothing after that one, and it's just you saw it, and I just know whatever that was, that's not gonna be on the field this year, that type of undisciplined behavior. I feel like the fact that this man studied what Hampton was before he came here, I was really appreciative. Now, but I'm gonna tell you this too. Robert Prunty, in his interview with Eugene, you know what he talked about? The emancipation of. So he knew, like, that he knew exactly what Hampton was about, even though because he was here for 2 years. But I think for him was more about I'm gonna just get a bunch of big guys in here, a big Division I bodies, and we just gonna run town. They a big like if you looked at some of like that roster he assembled that first year, he had 6'9" tackle, another 6'8" tackle, a 6'5" guards, those two bookend guards, and like a 250-pound running back. But it's like eventually what they do, they got tired. They couldn't run the ball anymore. Now what you gonna do? So, and the fact that we got out of that mentality, I'm very happy. So I'm excited.
I got a question for you, TJ.
Yes, sir. What's up?
So what do you think of that opening game?
I think the opening game is an opportunity to get some confidence under our belt. Also, the other thing about that is, and I think the university is strategic in nature at some level because I'm always surprised with how many programs are willing to play them.
Mhm.
But I think they know that they want to support a HBCU that is struggling, right? So
Yeah.
there's several HBCUs that are playing
Yeah.
VUL, and yes, part of it's for the win,
Mhm.
but it's also part because it's almost like giving back. That's kind of my thought on that. I think it's going to be a fun day. It's going to be a good game. If I can figure out how to get down there, I will. But
Same.
I'm going to the Maryland game the week after, so that's going to be a different type of game altogether.
Yeah.
Right?
You know what? For a while, we always was like, man, I just don't want the stench of just getting beat up like that, because Dr. Harvey felt that way. But I guess new regime comes in, it's like, hey, that check ain't that bad, and if the kids want it, fine, no worries. But
Well, and I want to ask you guys this, right, since we're on the
yeah,
topic. The transition to the FBS programs and playing FBS programs is not random. It's
mm,
the programs that we're playing are in places where we recruit kids from,
yeah,
I'm talking about kids generally, like
mm,
students from. And I feel like it's very intentional, whether it be, Maryland or Georgia Tech following that, or ODU
mm,
following that, or UVA following that, right? They're all
mhm,
places and programs where we draw kids, where we, want to improve our profile. So it's
mhm,
more than just the check. It's very intentional. Like, you know, I don't know how many kids Howard is pulling from Indiana, but
yeah,
that's a wholly different thing than what I think the university is doing in a very strategic selection of
mhm,
where they're playing and who they're playing.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah. I mean, I understand it because I mean, even talking about previous coaches, all of them that we talked to or heard, they all wanted to play
mm,
FBS schools for
they
the
all
money
did.
and for recruiting. So I
Yeah,
think you know many of the football folks are happy that they pivoted. Me, I don't like scheduled losses, so I'm
yeah,
not watching that game. But
yeah,
I understand that they need to do it. I'm not
yeah,
going to watch it because I've been there. It's just it's more of a I'm getting old. It's a hike. I got to get down there.
yeah,
In Maryland, you ever been to that stadium?
yeah,
That's for you going up and
yeah,
so for me,
yeah,
I'm not going. I'm not
yeah,
doing all that. If I go
yeah,
down there, I'm gonna hang out with the 2,000 Hampton alumni I know it,
Yeah.
down in DC and hang out with my people, but
Yeah.
I'm not excited about the game. But I understand the necessity of it. Hopefully, in subsequent years, it'll pay off with the money and the exposure.
Yeah, and I think we need to think about it in terms too, like Howard, they're constantly like they got a Jordan brand. John Wall just signed
They
up
got
to
John
be.
Wall. You know how many people done reached out to me about that John Wall thing,
Oh
man?
God, I'm just like, can we
Right.
get one break like that, man? So
My
we have.
son was like, "Hey, you saw what Howard did?" I said,
I'm
"Man,
like,
shut up."
so we got to do stuff like just to like. It's like Hampton is like Howard is cool. Hampton is like it's like get off my lawn at times. So it's like
We're
we got to
conservative.
kind of do
We play it
cool
safe.
stuff to get people to like look at the
We play it
brand.
safe.
Yeah, like because we talk about this all the time. It's like parents love Hampton when they send when they're on high school. Their parents love it. Kids don't. Kids
Mm.
got to be talked into it. So I want Hampton to be cool, for kids. So I mean, I think it's a good opportunity for them to do that. So yeah.
Jeff, I'm gonna have to write that down. You say Hampton is to get off my lawn. That is
Totally,
great.
totally, totally.
Uh,
Yeah, that's the argument. As I was, you may know, like my brother's an alum as well, and he's a tech guy,
Mhm.
and completely in a different path. He's angry that we did not hire Michael Vick before Norfolk
No,
State did, because he wants the flash, he wants the energy, he wants
I've heard a
all
no.
the
lot of that.
marketing. And
I've
even
heard
when
that.
they were losing, his psychology was it doesn't matter because of all of the marketing, all the press, all of the exposure. And I'm of the camp that no, I don't think that fits our brand.
It does. Thank you. Hold on. Does he watch this?
Yeah, he does. He does.
Okay, listen to me. All right. Listen to me. All right. Deion Sanders, coach, because I know he's thinking about like in that term, Coach Prime, right? He was an offensive coordinator for 10 plus years. So he already knew how to build a program. Mike Vick was working as a studio host, calling football games. He had no idea how to build a program and he had to be talked into it. And the coaches that he hired coaches from Hampton as his assistant coaches. He
Mm.
took players off of our bench who weren't playing for a losing team to his program and they were starting. So that goes to show you we did the right thing. That's number one. And number two, Hampton, Vic is a redemption story. His wife, she came out of I think a year after me, and definitely proud of that. But Hampton is not going to do that. If Hampton would ever do a celebrity hire, it would be like a former and like a Mike Tomlin type of guy or something
Mm.
like that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to watch Norfolk State this year too, boy.
Yeah.
They gonna be probably worse than they were last year, if that's
Thank you.
possible.
Thank you. But we always say this. You know what kind of players Mike Vick needs?
Or some dogs.
y'all ain't right.
He needs some dogs out there.
That's why people don't like it sometimes, man.
Even he'll probably laugh at that one, man.
Yeah, they
Well,
got
look,
to.
we're just a different type of place, and I've been saying that for a while. I think obviously you all agree with that. I do see us hiring, if we could ever go after some of that John Wall type celebrity, but it would not be someone. And this was my comment to my brother at the time. We did a whole show on this. It would not be someone who will overshadow the president.
Thank
We're
you.
not going to get someone who is going to become the face of the institution beyond President Williams. That's just not going to happen at Hampton.
Mhm.
And so that was my argument. I'll stick to that. I think that's the truth as to how we would play out. If jokingly sent, because you guys got off X, thank you very much. That left me a lot of space there. But I jokingly sent a note when it looked like Russell Wilson was maybe retiring. I said, Russell, you can come be our coach. Come on down, because that's the type of person who I could see them hiring. Right? I
Hampton
mean,
would
let's
do
just
that.
be real.
They'll definitely go for Russell Wilson. He's
Right.
He got some Hampton connections too, if I'm not
He does.
mistaken. But
yeah.
yeah.
His father's. It was a grandfather was Well, I know his cousin was a professor at Scripps Howard School of
Mhm.
Communications, and his grandfather, I think, was a president over somewhere,
Norfolk
either
State.
Norfolk
At Norfolk
State.
State.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Norfolk
His
State.
grandfather was
So
president of Norfolk State.
yeah, so yeah, he definitely has the connections.
Yeah, he fits the mold. Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
a good.
Like, if you think about it, could you imagine Coach Prime at Hampton? That would not work, man.
Oh
Ooh,
no,
ooh,
no,
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 ooh, no.
oh
Like
no,
talking about what my theme music?
no, no, no.
No, that would not work. That would not work.
Someone will be like, "Excuse me, it's
No,
not,
my
it's
God.
not the, it's not the Hampton way."
It's like we're a wine and cheese crowd,
Right,
man.
that's right.
We drink Zima,
You know,
Zima.
I remember, man. Look, this is like when I was like, I was a booster. I had no family. I had a lot of disposable income, right? So one year I bought the reserve seats and
Mm,
everything. So I mean, we were playing, and this was like I forgot who was the coach, but I had those seats in the middle, and the
mm,
piece of people are kind of old, so I was there. Maybe my brother, somebody,
mm.
and it was like third down, and we were just like yelling crazy, and people were looking around like, "Will you shut up?" I'm like, "Yo,
Yeah,
like that's the
yeah,
Hampton." I was like, "Word."
yeah. That is Hampton for you.
Yeah, man. I was like, wow, I ain't coming back here
They
no
were
more.
clapping, like, yeah. So, you know what? It's
Yeah,
like,
that's Hampton, man.
Not a raucous crowd, you say, huh?
no,
Nah, man.
definitely not. I
Nah.
mean, Norfolk State is raucous.
But they getting
Hampton is
there.
raucous in
They be getting
basketball. In
Norfolk State is
basketball,
different.
Hampton can be a little bit, they can match energy, but
Yeah,
football, no. Yeah.
yeah.
The
So,
you guys I great overall points. I was gonna say I was a this year because I went to it made sense when you go to like more than one game. I ended up being a season ticket guy this year,
mm,
this past season. So I went to Norfolk State game, went to
mm,
homecoming. But I had the chance to talk with several parents
mhm,
about current I'm not player parents, right, currently.
mhm,
It was very insightful as to kind of what they were thinking about the program. Yeah, these
mm,
were talking about like younger parents whose kids were
mm,
like freshmen, sophomores,
mm,
young parents.
mm,
they they were enjoying the school, despite the circumstances. They were enjoying the program, which is
mm,
why I was so happy that Van Malone was able to hold on to more than I expected. I
yeah,
definitely thought we were going to see a mass exodus, but I think some of those kids just decided, and this
mm,
might be an upgrade, so it's okay. Why don't we just stay?
yeah, yeah,
I heard the same thing. I heard the same thing even going back
yeah,
to Prunty regime. Not I won't talk
yeah,
about him, but
mm,
remember when we because early on we were cool. We toured
yeah,
the facilities.
yeah,
He was like, "Man, these guys living nice." Like,
yeah.
you think there's levels to it, of course, but I was like, "Man, it's a good deal."
It's interesting because I work in academia. It's a lot of former coaches that, from the MEAC that I bump into all the time. It's funny whenever they bring up Hampton, it's like, oh, that's the gold standard. That's the gold standard.
Heard
And
that all the time, man. I
you're kind
heard
of
that
like,
all the
what?
time.
The gold
Yeah.
standard. And especially for basketball coaches, like, man, that convocation center, you guys in the CAA, you guys travel privately almost, meaning that at some points they charter their own planes, their own buses. And I mean, it's just like per diems. These are things that I'm like, like, okay, but like when I hear these horror stories about, I have a colleague who used to coach at Delaware State and UMES and South Carolina State, and when they're telling me that they're sharing buses with like passengers after away games, you're sitting
What?
here like, what?
What they on
Greyhound,
Greyhound? Peter
Greyhounds,
Pan.
like what? Like no, like, or the bathroom been out, so you just gotta wait till the next rest stop, and you're just kind of like, man. And they were like, "Yo, Hampton, man, shoot." And they know the names of the planes that what Hampton might have, and you're just kind of like, "Wow, okay, all right, I guess we are a good standard." So, so when you hear that stuff, then if the coaches want to be there, then and the kids, are the same thing too. And so, but it's not just Hampton, because this A&T now is
Mhm.
is the preferred choice for a lot of these kids now. I just see like on their what is called now they have what decision day.
Yep,
Like
today's decision day.
they killed it.
Mm,
They killed
yeah,
it. They
yeah,
killed it. Yeah, so and I'm trying to find out what was the numbers on Hampton on decision day. So, but Hampton is a gold standard amongst HBCUs, for everyone else is
yeah.
like, it's like Hampton is kind of like, oh, that's probably one of those nicer ones, from yeah, they're kind of the nicer ones. They're not like like we went to Norfolk State, it's kind of dangerous, but and it
Um,
never is, it's just
nope.
like
Right, right.
I it's and so it's the funny part about it is like when me and Reek, like we've staunchly, and I hate to say this, but we staunchly defend Norfolk State in the Tidewater area, mainly from a lot of those little ignorant little ODU fans. I've had a situation where we were at William and Mary. I was at their game and it was just a total like, let me get out of here, man. Oh
Mm.
Mhm.
God. Like it was their homecoming and I brought my wife with me, and this is the first time she was at William and Mary. Their homecoming queen, like like William and Mary's predominantly white.
Mhm.
Their homecoming queen would look like she was black. And I was
Mm.
like, and they were parading her around like I'm like, stop parading her around. I think a lot of times it's like we just say these things because no one else says it, and so it has to be said.
Well, and you make space for it,
Yeah.
which is
We try.
perfectly fine. The other thing, as you guys mentioned the basketball for a second, because of the culture of basketball is so different, and the horses out been out of the barn there for so long that I just don't touch that necessarily. But
Mhm.
there's some things happening. Do you guys have any thoughts on I know men's and women's basketball have been recent signings. How do you feel about the
Mm,
way things are going?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Augustine, she's bringing them in, so
yeah.
she's rebuilding. Or this is year 3, right? So
Mhm.
I think she got rid of some assistants,
Yeah.
and she's building. She has some really good pieces from last year, and I think
Yeah.
they're coming back for the most part.
Yeah.
So I think she's building a nice roster over there for the ladies. Coach Thomas, man, um. NIL, man, boy, he
Mm.
just got raided, man.
Yep. Yeah.
He got raided. You
Yeah.
see, what's the name? The guard he just signed with Southern Miss today.
Yeah.
Mm.
We lost guys the past couple years. What Southern Miss,
Yeah.
UCF,
Yeah.
all kinds of schools. And
Yeah.
Stony Brook now Goods. He's going down to
Yeah.
one of the big Florida school. I mean, we just lose. It's hard to maintain continuity. So he's rebuilding again.
Yeah.
You don't know what
Yeah.
you're gonna get. You got the whole new roster. You don't know. So
Yeah.
that's why I think he was really trying to do that fundraising thing last year to pay dues. But
Yeah.
from what he was raising, that's the price of a big man nowadays.
Yeah. Yeah.
You want a big man, about 600 grand.
Yeah. Like, and
One who can score and shoot.
yeah, and this is the wild part. It's like with Augustine, it's like I think she is always like she came in to Hampton and she had like that big lumbering roster, and then she realized, okay, I need to get smaller, I need to get faster, and I need to get leaner. And so she did that. Those players got hurt, and I think now it's more like, okay, it's more she's trying to figure out the right chemistry that works for all these guys. But that roster that she got coming up, this is gonna like
Yeah.
we thought the roster this past year was gonna be the one, but this one looks good too.
Yeah.
Thomas though, I feel bad because it's like he brought in the guys, the guys are there. It's like you don't we always talk about this, be good, but don't be too good, be good enough where they be like, man, that boy can't play. Get like I want these kids to get their money. I love it for them, but at the same time, I'm just like, man, it's like
Yeah.
I think it's to me, it's if I had to mentally start over every year as a head coach, to me that would be just very difficult for me just to like kind of wrap my mind around it. And I know for him, it's just like the premium are paying like, and it's like this in football too. the price to pay for a big man is insane. Like in football, the price now is to pay for that left tackle. You know, that
Mhm.
left tackle, if he's like above 6'5" and he's good, yeah, you got to pay for that. You know, so I
Yeah,
mean, we have the money, but do we have enough? We probably
yeah.
can get that one big piece and then supplement it with a bunch of kind of like other little guys. But to get two or three, then on the mid-major level is really difficult.
Yeah, and it's tough. You know, my son trains at this gym over in Brooklyn, and going there the other day, and they show who's working out there. You know, college and pro. The two guards from Hofstra who just helped them win their championship, they both transferred.
Yeah,
Mm.
One in Texas Tech, I forgot what other one. So I guess that's just how it goes, man. Like you cannot, but you got to keep your core. That's
yeah,
the most
yeah,
important part. You cannot reset your
yeah,
culture year after year. You got to have some guys that carry it forward who can
yeah,
coach when a coach ain't there. And for Hampton, we only got two guys coming back, really,
yeah,
who
yeah,
got experience last year, and they're both
yeah,
freshmen.
yeah,
And Haskins, he seems ready,
mhm,
mature.
yeah,
The other guy,
yeah,
so he's gonna have to reset the culture all over again.
yeah,
That's a
yeah,
little disturbing, but yeah, because for all of these teams, especially in the CAA, you gotta have a core that you sticks together year after year. Cannot
yeah,
rebuild the whole thing. It's so difficult. So, and I know that I just asked, Chat GPT. I said, give me the roster makeup of in all the sports, and just the common thing is like
mhm,
carrying over core players year after the teams
yeah,
that win carry over their core set of players. And that's why I'm
yeah,
encouraged about football, because he's
yeah,
building a core. Now he's got
yeah.
to raise money to keep the core together.
Yeah, and Imma just tell you this though, Howard I mean, I'm not a really big I mean, I know John Wall's an NBA name, he's a big name, but what can he do? Is he just gonna get these kids in
Guess
the
what?
gym? What?
Hey, Howard beat us in just about everything the past year.
He did! And oh my god, it's like that to me, it's like Howard never gave a you know what
We don't
about
forgot about
any of
that.
these sports. Never! Like, we've c so I used to live across the street from Howard University, and literally, like, they had, like, in their north end zone, it used to be, like, when you kick the field goal, and if the camera's pointing this way, it's boarded up houses right behind the end zone.
They used to be, yep. I used to be over there.
Yeah. I would walk from my house, like, literally, like, I would just walk to my house and just sit there and watch them in the stands practice. Like, just the football team, 'cause, it was an open stadium, and so, like, I would be mad if we would win by 30. We could win by 80 by then. But now, now it's like the program has changed so much that I don't like to see that like, of all programs, you don't lose to
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
And
they're not nice.
yeah, like, cause now they're caring, but when they were always good, the coaches would leave. Blake Lee has not left, so that is a problem.
Yeah, I do think they're going to be a challenge because it's a question of, from what I remember, they were able to hold their core together,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And their defense. Although, where I'm not likely to say much about a player, I'm not as concerned about the quarterback that they currently have. So, we'll see about that. But I do think that as far as basketball is concerned,
they're gonna
we're
be a
in year
problem.
3 of the rebuild or the reestablishment of the program, but it's a different day, and you got to do it
Yeah,
every single year,
yeah,
and you have to have something to offer. And if your kids, as you said before, Jeff, if the players are good or too good, they're leaving.
they're leaving.
So it doesn't make any
And this is
difference.
the wild part is now Coach Joyner, Buck Joyner had a guy right before he left, Jerry Ding. The
Mhm,
6'9", Sudanese guy. Baller.
mhm.
He
Hey,
is like
that last year, his team was loaded, man. The fact that
yeah,
he couldn't win with those dudes, yeah,
yeah,
they had,
and it shows you
yeah,
how much of a regression that he
yeah, he
had.
checked out.
They
Yeah,
checked out on him hard.
sorry, but
And Jerry Ding is like on his 15 now? I mean, I know he's probably getting a bag from each one, but he could have stayed at Hampton another year or two. And he might not have gotten that bag, but I always say this. I mean, if you okay, some of these guys are gonna play overseas. I'm sure he is. But if you're not gonna play overseas, that Hampton degree is gonna take you places. You know, you leave a Hampton to go where? Like Shippensburg or whatever. I would not put that degree up against a Hampton degree, but whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the one part that we have to emphasize, or hopefully players are emphasizing. Part of why, I try to turn the human interest stories is to make sure folks understand that that degree is going to take you places. Whether it was Tim Frazier who came on and talked about his experience and now giving
I
back to
like
the
that one.
school.
That was a
That was
great
a
Yeah,
good
show.
one. That
yeah,
was a
I
good
right.
one.
appreciate it.
So
Yeah.
those are, and or just the very first one that I did with talking about Tim Benson, who unfortunately passed away, but ultimately
Yeah.
was a huge player during my time. I mean,
Mhm.
basically, when I got to Hampton, his name was on everything, both
Mhm.
academic
Mhm.
and athletic.
Mhm.
Mhm.
You know, it's the kind of thing where some of these kids, if they have a reasonable understanding of what can be with a Hampton degree, you might not trade the long term for the short term so easily.
Yeah.
That remains to be seen, right? That's a narrative
Yeah.
that is going to be worked out, whether it comes in the changing into the transfer portal rules, or did y'all see? Even was it this week they decided that the D2s have the same rules as D1. That's a
Yeah.
huge thing, right?
Mhm.
That's just because the D2s had an advantage. They could transfer anytime they wanted, and
Yeah.
now they're on the same exact schedule as D1,
Mhm.
and they all have to jump in between now and
Yeah.
June 1st. I think it's June 1st. I
Yep.
think it's June 1st,
Yeah.
right? This is going to be really interesting to see how many kids think they have a shot to go do something, so they're going to go
Yeah.
right now.
Yeah.
And we have been recruiting D2 pretty hard,
Mhm.
which is, I think par for the course
Yeah.
as far as this is concerned.
Yeah. I'll take them anyway because what we learned when Prunty, his first year, it was that COVID year when we couldn't find any opponents. We were playing programs like Merrimack or like a Division III program.
Mm.
What was it, the Long Island one, Tariq, where we had to go up there and play them, a D3
Yeah.
team. And those guys were bringing the wood to us. And I'm sitting here like, whoa. And like, I mean, the games were competitive. So, um, I mean, it was probably, it was definitely a size issue, but competitively, those kids can play. I'm sure there's a lot of good gyms in there.
Yeah.
Well, Tariq, anything on that?
I would just say, well, no, our best player on defense, he had a quiet, good year, was O'Neal, and he was a D2 transfer.
Yep.
So
Yep.
it can work out, especially with knowing basketball for sure. Like there's talent everywhere because how guys are able to stay so long. So you could
Mhm.
definitely do some things. But if you loading up your roster with those guys, it's a process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think for basketball, it's just, I mean, honestly, if the coaches like at the top programs are tired, then I can only imagine like mid-major programs like what Hampton is. It's
Yeah. But
like what are we doing here?
just as long as there was Jeff, one of my favorite podcasts from last year, we were talking about the roster, football roster, just to
Ugh.
show that he's trying to do things differently. Man, we had like 190-pound tight end. Man,
Ugh.
the guy, I mean, the guy, dope athlete, I think chaos, whatever. So it wasn't about him. It was
Mhm.
just the way the roster was constructed
Yeah.
that we got a 190-pound tight end in the CAA. Like, you
Like,
come
that's
on, man,
not
you
gonna
gotta go.
work.
Come
Yeah,
on.
That's not
that
gonna
that
work.
was an interesting situation. I remember that specifically, right? And it's Kazai Wofford, and he was the quarterback. They moved him to tight end, and probably because they needed
Mhm.
it. And it was definitely undersized. I'm really curious to see if he comes back at 190 pounds. Then I'm worried, right?
Yeah.
If
Man,
he's
they
still
probably ain't
190
worried about that
pounds.
kid, man. They're like, he
No,
probably
he's a
ain't
he's
on
a
scholarship.
put him at wide out. That's he's if
Yeah, he was
he
definitely
even
not a
like
blocking
trying.
tight end.
They're
Yeah.
like we got bigger fish to fry, son.
It was kind
The
of like Howard, though. That's how I knew how last thing is. That's how I knew Howard was
Yeah,
so good. Not me compared to us because they were just picking our linemen up
yeah.
and just
And that never
throwing them.
happened.
Right? It was like
The only time,
his
like
feet were dragging back.
That never happened. Even Don Rose, who like had a losing record against Howard, like we were like those were bloodbaths. We just lost because we couldn't have a quarter. We didn't have a quarterback during those times. But no, I mean, yeah, that was bad. You can't recruit 6'2", 280, 70-pound linemen, man. Like, what are we doing? No, 6'1". I'm sorry. Hey,
Yeah,
who are you blocking? 250 pounds at 6'1"? Come on.
clearly it was slim pickings out there. And one of my concerns is that we really didn't recruit any offensive linemen during this break.
Yeah,
So something had to have changed. And if they do really well, that's going to be nothing but pure coaching, because
exactly.
they got a couple of, at least one or two guys, but they're like high school guys. So we know
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
they're not going to contribute significantly, or we don't expect them to. They're not. We don't have a Jordan Seaton coming.
No.
Um, so they're going to require some,
Yeah.
some development
Most of those
to
guys
the game.
come in and they're tiny. I always say this when I went to the William and Mary Hampton game. And I stood on the sideline. The William and Mary players were uniform, all like at like same height, same size. I'm talking about offensive and decent defensive lines, and so you knew that okay, they worked those guys hard. You could tell the state of a program based upon I would say the size of the players almost. I mean,
Mm.
now
Yeah.
guys, but if they got like case in point, when we played Grambling had like just lineman butt like guts over belts, nobody was in shape, they were just big, they're not moving anybody. Hampton looked in shape, and you saw immediately when we hit the field.
Yeah.
This is going to be an interesting year, because I feel like we're going to see a lot of, and I've already kind of been playing with I keep a pretty strong spreadsheet on the roster. There's a
Hey, I
lot of
salute you, man.
walk-ons, a lot of
Yeah.
Yeah,
walk-ons
Wait, we got a lot of
that
walk-ons?
yeah,
yes, yeah,
a
yes,
ton of
sir.
'em.
Yeah, there's well, a lot is relative. What would you say? There are several walk-ons, and Van Malone said it. He said that when he took over, there were a lot of players who were on campus who came to him and said, I want to play, and you know, so let's see how that works out. No shade to them. I'm just saying that's
Nah.
what it is,
And
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 it's going to be
some of the
interesting to
walk-ons
see.
Some of the
You say, John?
walk-ons doing them Instagram posts is they're a 5-star too. That's the problem. Stop it.
Um, and if I'm pulling for anybody, you guys mentioned it before. There is one guy from I think a D3 program that
Mhm.
has come over
Yeah,
in the defensive back group. So if they pulled him in, I'm excited. I think he might be a bit of a surprise. I think he's got size. I think he's a 6'2" type 180
yeah,
It
D back.
happens.
So if your comments hold true, it'll be one of these guys who just was looking for space and opportunity.
yeah,
TJ, I
absolutely.
like you, man. You're a politician. I mean, you
Yeah,
are
Hey,
awesome, man.
well, first of all, I went to Hampton, so I'm not telling nobody get off my lawn, but we there, and
yeah,
besides that, I mean, I think I mentioned, I'm third generation. I've been doing Hampton for since before I was born, basically.
Yeah,
So
me too, man. My folks go
yeah,
back to the 1800s.
yeah,
nice.
yeah.
So
My grandmother's brother no, my grandmother's father's brother, so 1901.
all right,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah.
1901.
It's in the blood. It's in the blood.
Yeah. From
It's in the
Fergie,
blood.
Kentucky. I don't know how you made it from Fergie, Kentucky to Hampton, Virginia. I don't even know how you even travel like that during those times.
Slowly.
Slowly, yeah.
Well, you guys have been great. I just wanted the opportunity to pay some homage to what you all have been doing, continue to do. I'm sure there's going to be some more great shows coming up in the next few months as you have time to do them. I'm probably on if I get to one a month, I'm doing good. You know,
Yeah.
Yep.
And this is just a great way to complete my 12th show. I could not think of a better set of guests than the gentleman
Oh,
who produced HU Private Ship. Where I know we can find you. I'm gonna say it. You know, there are lots of places to find you. In addition to your own show, you guys do the Indie Report with David Rhodes over
yeah.
on HU inside the HBCU Sports Lab. Anywhere else you guys want to say? Where else can we find you?
What's the one that's coming up June 1st, I think?
Yeah, Pooh Bear. This Pooh Bear. I forgot the
Yeah.
name of his show. HBCU.
Golden something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Golden. Yeah, I
Yeah.
will. We'll get. But yes, Pooh Bear. If you're in the HBCU sphere, you've seen those guys around. So
Yeah.
we'll be on their
We
show
have a good time
in a
down there
couple
because
weeks.
they always are looking for, like that's like SWAT country. So
Yeah,
they
they talk
always want to
trash. So
get
they
they
ain't
because
shy.
it's like they try to get like I said, up north, them programs up there. Anything above Carolina is considered up north. So
Yeah, I don't know
Yeah.
how that is because I come around from New York. That Virginia did
Nah.
not feel like up north.
no, from a Virginia is a slaveholding state, white
Hmm.
folks. But for black folk, it's like, it's like because they don't know what they are. People in Richmond act like they're from Brooklyn. So I always felt that way. I was like, what are y'all? Because if you look at Timberland, Missy Elliott clips, it's like, what are y'all? Like, what are
Yeah, I
you?
thought they were from New York.
Yeah,
Listen,
you don't
yeah.
know who he is. So that's why people from the South, like I'm from Atlanta, they looked at him like, man, y'all just weird. So it's like
Yeah.
the more you leave, like the more southern you go, like once you get to South Hill in Virginia, like below that, that's when the South really kind of, you feel it.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, Norfolk State felt more southern for us
Hmm.
than Hampton, but we love it though.
I always say Hampton is a national school in
Yeah.
the facts that we have folks from all over.
Yeah.
And I'm very much of a Hamptonian. In my mind, we are the Stanford of the East. I like to say, we have that attitude.
You know what's
So,
funny? Funny, I always say like because we are pride. Yeah, so I always say like we're like Michigan because
mm,
Michigan, like they're much more into their sports. Stanford is, but so yeah, we're that.
yep, that. Well,
Mhm.
exactly right, gentlemen. It has been great. You're always welcome, and I will see you in the
Same.
chat. I am sure. And if ever I can be of assistance, please know that I am supporting you and certainly all the teams. But y'all can keep all them other sports because I don't have time for it.
Hey, you got to come on in football season so you can give the nice
Yeah,
the PC
yeah,
side of things.
Well, I'll have the data for you. Don't.
All
One thing
right,
I will
there we
have
go.
is I will have the data for you. Don't worry about
yeah,
that.
Hey,
yeah,
numbers lie, man. Numbers lie. No,
yeah,
we even that can piss people off. But anyway,
yeah,
yeah, come back on in football season.
yeah.
Well, no problem. No problem at all, man. This has been your Hampton football enthusiast, Tina Jones, with the great gentleman from the HU Pirate Ship. Everybody take care.